China, a superpower on the rise. As the race to dominate in tech and trade around the world accelerates, in this special, we take a unique look at how the nation of 1.4 billion is shaping its goal for global and economic dominance. We delve into the investments into artificial intelligence and the robot revolution as we go inside a humanoid factory. We test drive an electric vehicle that can't be bought in the U.S. So what makes it so competitive? And while technology is being advanced in labs and behind screens, some methods thousands of years old are being used to restore the Great Wall. We'll take you there and to the zoo, where pandemonium is on display, often an unofficial measure of U.S.-China relations. First, we wanted to get the pulse of this nation from its youth. How do they see their future, and what do they make of China's relationship with the U.S.? It was clear right away that there are some shared bonds that transcend boundaries.
His life himself to actually...
Lori Jiao, Lucian Chen, and Viola Ma are all college grads or about to graduate, living in and around Beijing. I was curious about their thoughts on America.
So what are some American brands or products you like?
Apple?
Yeah, Apple.
Apple.
Yeah, Apple Watch here.
Yeah.
Who are some American artists you like?
My favorite artist will be Lady Gaga. Yeah, I'm a little monster. Yeah.
I was the fan of Taylor Swift since Love Story. I always feel there's a connection between me and her. Yeah.
And this answer from Lori about religion, where in China the communist government encourages atheism, surprised us.
Anything else in American culture that you guys love?
Well, I wouldn't say it's love, but I've been really interested in Christianity recently.
Christianity?
Yeah. Like, I'm not religious, but like I have a couple friends that I met there, and then they were Christian, so like they taught me something about it, but like I am atheist personally, so like, yeah.
So you're Christian curious?
Yeah, I wanted to know like why they believe in God.
I also asked about a social media trend where young Chinese lie flat, just like this, after graduation. Some say it's a protest to China's slowing economy.
Some of them, they were told to study hard by their parents, maybe since their primary school.
Yeah, and then they can't find a job.
Not everyone. I don't think not everyone, but under huge pressure, they don't know what they really want to do. They were just told what they should do.
I feel like personally I have a very different story to tell because just judge from the experience of me and like my peers around me, we don't really kind of lay flat. I feel like it's more about trying to explore where the opportunity lies instead of just like saying directly that you can't find a job.
Lying flat is like to find a place for you to be who you are instead of being pushed forward.
What is happiness for you, do you think, looking into your future?
I think I will stay focused on my job for a long time in the future. I want to make real impacts.
So for me, happiness is like to have your own house, to have the books you like. I think my wish is simple, but of course it's not very easy to accomplish since nowadays the houses are very expensive to afford.
And with Beijing hosting that historic summit between President Trump and Xi Jinping, I wanted to know how they saw the future.
Do you think in 10, 20 years, China and America are still friends, or do you think they are enemies?
I would picture them as friends because I feel like the relationship between big powers is never like zero-sum games, and I definitely feel like cooperation would bring more opportunity to both sides.
Well, I would say that I hope they would be friends, but I think the reality is not like that. Yeah.
For decades, it was a strict and brutal measure in China, the one-child policy. The government ended it some 10 years ago. The effects are still being felt, and now China is pushing for more marriage and more kids. Janice Mackey-Freyer explains.
Once the world's most populous country, China is no longer growing, hitting its lowest birth rate on record, mainly because fewer young people are getting married. It's not that I don't want to get married, says Ding Ying. It's just life pressure. The reasons for the declines are partly economic. with youth unemployment and housing costs on the rise.
For the wedding ceremony, we have spent a lot of money.
The marriage rate now the worst since the pandemic, when China was locked down. But values around marriage and family have also changed, especially among China's urban women, like Angela He, who's choosing to own a gym and raise a dog instead.
We got more freedom than before, so people can decide what is their life gonna be. It's not like a traditional China anymore.
It was only a decade ago that the Communist Party ended the one-child policy that imposed family planning rules to control population. Couples who defied them were punished as unpatriotic, with fines, shaming, even jail. Now caught in a demographic squeeze, China's government is trying to reverse it, giving bonuses to newlyweds, offering marriage vows at spots that look good on social media, and spelling it out in drone shows with diamonds in the sky. To rewire thinking, this university even has a bachelor's degree program in marriage, covering the whole cycle from matchmaking to counseling. In the past, people were more willing to marry and have children to feel secure, says the school's dean. Now they believe they can live well on their own. For the most part, experts doubt the government's campaign will lead to any sort of marriage or baby boom here. The challenge for China remaining strong with a population that's shrinking.
What has stood the test of time is the Great Wall, the largest man-made structure on Earth. We traveled there to visit the historic site and get a rare first-hand look at the epic restoration project now underway.
Our journey to the Great Wall starts just north of Beijing. From the urban center of China, we head out to the countryside.
We're going up some very windy roads now up the Yan Mountains. This is one of the main mountain ranges of China. We're trying to reach a remote area of the Great Wall of China known as Jiankou. That means arrowhead.
It's extremely dangerous for visitors to hike up there and then walk along this section of the Great Wall.
And that's where you're taking us?
Yes.
At the mountain base, we meet our guide, Xi Ran, and Mr. Chen, leading the restoration of this hard-to-reach section of the Great Wall.
So for the first time now, we can actually see the Great Wall. It's up there. That's that arrowhead we were talking about. We're going to hike up there. That's actually a soldier's tower from the Ming Dynasty, about 400 to 500 years old. It was a lookout over the Great Wall. It's a good workout, huh?
Yeah.
The hike is mostly uphill, taking us around ridges, through forest canopies, and along merciless rocky terrain.
As advanced as China is when it comes to technology, they're still using ancient ways to rebuild the Great Wall.
The Great Wall took nearly 2,000 years to build, designed to protect a newly unified China from invaders, Mongol tribes trying to invade and steal its riches. Today, it's the pride of the Chinese who are spending decades trying to restore it, and it's why Mr. Chen is still climbing at his age.
That's his responsibility.
He feels it's his purpose in life.
His purpose of life.
We've reached it, the Great Wall.
The 2-mile vertical climb and 90-minute journey bring us to the final steps that reveal the awesome size of this ancient feat, one of the wonders of the world.
From this vantage point, it is incredible to see. The Great Wall is the longest man-made structure in the world, and to see it from this perspective is incredible. It stretches for miles, thousands of miles. And to think that humans brought these bricks one by one and assembled this, it took centuries, and many consider the Great Wall China's backbone.
But at the top, we realize there is so much work to do. The repairs are being done brick by brick. Mr. Chen has already been at it 20 years.
So the walls here are 400 years old?
Yeah, 456.
He knows the work will continue long after he's gone, but says this wall and these bricks are his calling.
It's really a representative of the spirit of the Chinese. It's a treasure of the heritage that left behind from the ancestors.
Mr. Chen tells me that this wall tells China's story, that the Chinese came together to build it, and they are still building it. It's not just a wall, it's the spirit of this country.
Still ahead, our inside look at what China is exporting to the rest of the world. The push to dominate robotics and electric vehicles, even adorable pandas. That's next. And we're back with a look at the streets of Beijing, a city of not just 22 million people, but a growing number of humanoid robots. China is the world leader in the technology, and we went into a factory to see firsthand how they're being built and how they actually work.
Inside the ex-humanoid plant in Beijing, a new generation of robots is taking shape. Step by step, the robots are assembled, tested, and then programmed. They're big, bulky, ready to run or crawl through hazardous terrain.
It looks aggressive. It's marching. Should it be seen as something that is going to be maybe part of your military one day?
No, yeah, we don't want the robots to do that. Yeah, we want robots to help people.
The company says these robots will make living easier by helping humans and could even be used in emergency situations.
So when you talk about helping out in the house, give me some examples, like help watch the children, help maybe elderly residents, clean dishes. I mean, what is it going to do?
The elderly, maybe, because less and less people want to have kids nowadays.
It's clear there's still a lot of experimenting going on, including this silicone-like face on the humanoid head.
What is this?
It's a bionic face because, like, in the future, we want the robot to have more, how to say, like temperature. So we want it like also look like humans.
So you're going to put these faces, these heads on the robots?
Yeah, like in the future.
Ex-Humanoid says these robots are still 3 to 5 years from hitting the market. Most of the functions we saw were controlled by remote, but the goal is full autonomy.
There is a big gap between what they can do physically and what they can do autonomously. This is where they need the training data and they need the improvements in the AI.
But China is closing that gap with startling speed. At a recent half marathon pitting Chinese humanoids besides real-life runners, a robot named Lightning won the race, finishing in just 50 minutes and 26 seconds. A record-breaking pace, and a huge leap from last year's race, where many models could barely maintain their balance. Off the track, the technology is already being put to work in major cities. China has robots managing traffic at busy intersections. It's all part of an all-out sprint for tech dominance. Just like with EVs, solar panels, and cell phones, China is flooding the zone with more than 150 companies trying to outproduce the rest of the world. One part of the industry that is already bringing in cash: rent a robot. In China, these pint-sized humanoids are delivered straight to your door, like this soccer-playing robot we rented. A little rusty at first, but after a few face plants, this little guy finds his footing and he can kick around, even scoring some goals.
And you are looking at the busy streets of Beijing, where bicycles are extremely popular, but so are Chinese-made electric vehicles. You can't buy them in America, but they are taking off around the world. They are super cheap, and many say just as good as the cars we have in America. So I test drove one to find out.
We're about to do something few Americans have ever done: drive a Chinese electric vehicle.
What's so special about this? Why is the world going nuts over this car?
In the U.S., we say bang for the buck. This is probably as good as you can get in terms of bang for the buck.
Lei Xing is a Chinese-American podcaster and consultant covering the auto industry.
Is that massage?
Yes.
Right away, you notice the luxury and the features. This vehicle is from a company called BYD, Build Your Dream. China's dream is to use cars just like these to conquer the auto industry. The pitch is simple: a luxury vehicle with no sticker shock.
If you could buy this car in America, how much would it cost?
So $25,000 here, you add about $10,000, $35,000, still a pretty good deal.
And some BYD vehicles go even lower, less than $12,000.
You can't get this in the U.S. right now.
No.
There's no way.
No. Well, not yet.
Right now, the U.S. is refusing to allow China in its driveway, slapping a 100% tariff on all Chinese EVs. Globally, though, the demand is surging, Experts say China is approaching nearly 70% of all EVs sold around the world.
Most Chinese automakers at home lose money. They look around the world, they say, we need oxygen. They see the United States as sort of a salvation.
On TikTok, videos featuring Chinese EVs rack up millions of views, hyping affordable tech to an American audience.
Whenever you're ready to leave, the car will just pull out on its own.
U.S. automakers and elected leaders argue China's EVs would cripple business and threaten national security.
There's always strings attached. What are those strings, and are we willing to forego potentially our freedoms in exchange for a cheaper product?
President Trump is even bringing Elon Musk to the summit in China. Tesla is in fierce competition with Chinese EVs. But the president is also sending mixed signals, increasing tariffs, but earlier this year saying he might welcome foreign auto investment if they build in America and hire Americans.
If they want to come in and build a plant and hire you and hire your friends and your neighbors, that's great. I love that. Let China come in.
Back in the car, the comfort and the price tag make the scale of this challenge clear. The question may no longer be if these cars are coming, but how much longer the American market can keep them at bay.
Another major export, the pandas, an obsession in China and at home in the U.S. Our Janice Mackey-Frayer got exclusive access to the two pandas getting ready for their journey to America.
The countdown is on for the return of giant pandas to Zoo Atlanta, with a fluffy pair of the iconic bears soon getting ready to roll.
They're this way.
We were invited to get a real-life look at Fu Shuang and Ping Ping, both 6 years old and U.S. bound, as part of a new 10-year conservation agreement. Panda fans will soon learn that Ping Ping loves to follow his keepers around. That's not your typical panda protocol. And that he's also a very dedicated bamboo eater. While Fu Shuang, which means double happiness, is playful but nervous. She likes apples and resting her chin on her paw.
So you've known her since she was a baby?
Yeah. In 2020. Very cute. And very lovely and very smart. Yeah, smart.
It's all part of a revival in panda diplomacy here that for the U.S. started in 1972 after President Nixon's landmark visit to China. Pandas on the move are seen as an unofficial measure of U.S.-China relations. With pairs of the treasured bears already in Washington and San Diego, Zoo Atlanta is renovating their panda enclosures to better help them adapt.
The journey begins here in the panda's hometown of Chengdu, at this research base where both of them were born and raised.
Soon, Fu Shuang and Ping Ping will be moved to another panda base in the lush mountains further south, where handlers will get them ready for the nearly 8,000-mile flight, their departure date a closely guarded secret. A send-off is always bittersweet for fans here in China, where pandas enjoy rock star status.
What are you going to tell your friends about the pandas?
I want to tell them about what they look like and what they're doing.
Fu Shuang and Ping Ping have never met, but will soon head out into the world together, creating pandemonium along the way.
When we return, our great food tour in Beijing, trying some of the best and most surprising dishes. That's next. Our view getting around the busy streets of Beijing by rickshaw as we travel to tour one of the great food cities of the world, trying some of Beijing's most popular and daring local dishes.
Deep inside the Second Ring Road, in the heart of Beijing, we're on the hunt for China's delicacies. At a cost of around $10 US, we're gonna eat, explore, and try dishes like these.
It's almost like a chopped steak.
Showing us the way, our food guide, Kelly Zhang.
So Beijing style is the goal today.
Of course, because you're in Beijing now.
Our first stop, Lu Beijing Xiaobing, which translates to...
This is the burgers, and this is also the name for this restaurant.
That's right, a Chinese burger joint, but not like back home.
Maybe you order.
Of course.
Kelly orders dumplings, steamed buns, tofu pudding, the Beijing burger, and this thing, a fried dough stick known as youtiao, but you can call it
a Chinese churro.
Chinese churro. Okay.
Yeah.
We sit to feast. First up, the burger, a chopped steak between two sesame patties.
So
it's delicious.
We call it imperial beef burgers because in Asian China, only the royals can get access to beef.
The dumplings are delicious and came with a history lesson. Kelly tells me legend has it dumplings are meant to look like ears. In ancient China, they were used as a type of medicine.
Okay, and that's why it's shaped like an ear.
Yes.
The Chinese churro, a big winner.
This is a very local way to have the food.
It's very good.
From there, Kelly is on the move again to a 100-year-old food stall, serving up traditional Chinese snacks. And she lets me order.
Youbiong?
油饼, 糖油饼.
Our bag filled with fried pancakes glazed in brown sugar.
This is delicious.
It's very good. What I didn't realize was Kelly was just buttering me up for the ultimate food challenge, our final stop. This Michelin-rated restaurant called Insan Dozier.
就是这个炸酱面.
Kelly quietly orders something at the counter, bringing back something confusing.
This is a Beijing signature breakfast, and
Signature
it's very
breakfast.
challenging. But I should
Okay.
say it's not only a challenge for you guys like foreigners, but still a challenge for most of the Chinese not from Beijing. It's a Beijing super unique.
This traditional Beijing breakfast item, dozier, is fermented mung bean juice. And you're not a legit local if you can't take this down.
Here you go.
Spoiler alert, I cannot.
This is very tough to eat.
It's acquired taste.
It's a bitter, sour, pungent soup that Kelly tells me to try once more, but this time the way most locals like it, with a dough ring and pickled vegetable. Second time wasn't a charm, but a meal I know I will never forget.
So did I pass the challenge?
Finish the whole bowl, then you pass.
Okay.
We came to China to help us understand and show you what was going on. And in the battle for trade and tech dominance, we saw firsthand China's efforts to try and lead the world, building and exporting EVs on a mass scale and at a price point Detroit right now cannot match. And we walked among rows and rows of robots. It's plain to see these large, heavy machines will likely be used to do more than dance and clean dishes. As for the people in China, many of them are living in modern times. In major cities, cash is almost never used. Everything is done on the phone, on an app, and under the watch of this government. Much has changed in China since Nightly News started reporting from here in the 80s. Tom Brokaw and his team at times had to hide their cameras attached to bicycles to tell the real story during crackdowns. Now, cameras are everywhere, but to watch every one. So in many ways, China remains the same. As I walk Tiananmen Square, there is no escaping Mao Zedong looking down on the masses or the columns of surveillance. As China grapples with its future and the U.S., we hope to keep coming back and tell its story. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.